Hello my loves and welcome back to a new video. Now today we're going to be looking at the new quite disturbing skinny trend that is massively really popular in Hollywood amongst musicians, actresses and so forth. Why so many celebrities are losing like a lot of weight and quite frankly looking extremely skeletal. So there's been a lot of controversy around this recently, and in this video I'm going to be diving deeper into what I believe is the reason behind it, and also my own experience with an eating disorder when I was very young, and why it is never ever worth it to starve your body. So if you are someone who is struggling with an eating disorder or thinking about, trying to lose a lot of weight to get a kind of more skinny look, then I highly recommend watching this video because it is sure to put you off when you truly learn the actual dark side, the truth of what is actually going to happen when you do have an eating disorder, compared to the kind of false illusion of glamour that these celebrities and other women lie to you about, quite frankly. So in the end of the day, an eating disorder is a mental disorder. Now, too many people massively get wrongly influenced by people who are mentally ill. Now, you really have to understand this on the deeper level. And I have the credentials to say that because I went through it myself for many years. And I know extremely intimately how these types of women think when they're under the influence of an eating disorder. And the main thing that they will do is they'll gaslight you that they're healthy when they are not. And this is probably one of the most dangerous traits and signs, because it not only blocks people from trying to intervene with them, it will wrongly influence others to follow in their footsteps, because they are glamorizing literally starving yourself to death. They are literally glamorizing a form of self-harm. And it truly is that serious, because people severely underestimate the very physical side effects and mental, but the physical side effects that does go hand in hand with eating disorders. Like, people don't understand how much of a toll it actually does take on the body when you are malnourished and not eating enough calories. Like, the body is very resilient. However, when you do have anorexia or bulimia, like, that is one of the leading causes of death within mental illnesses. Like, anorexia has the highest rating of death within all mental disorders, because it does take such a huge toll, especially on the heart. Because people don't understand, when you are starving yourself, you're not just losing weight, you're not just losing fat, you're massively losing muscle. And because of like new drugs like Ozempic and this type of thing as well, which also make you lose muscle, people don't understand that there is such a danger to that long term, because muscle is the main thing that's going to help you have longevity, keep you strong, keep you able to walk, to get up, be mobile, especially as you age, because especially from the age of 30, you do start to lose muscle year by year. So if you're taking drugs and under eating and then never weight training, you're going to get more and more fragile. And the more fragile you become, the more in danger you are of pretty much fucking everything. Because you truly have to ask yourself, who does it actually benefit when women are anorexic, underfed and underweight? Who does it benefit when a woman can't defend herself, when a woman is not strong? There is a reason why in this time period right now, they are trying to weaken women, because that is ultimately what this is all about. On a very esoteric, spiritual level, this is what is happening. It's actually a form of psychic attack on women as a collective. They do not want women to be strong. They do not want women to basically rise in their divine feminine sovereignty, because for the past few years, women have been waking up more and more, coming into their power. I'd say especially since 2017 onwards, but more so within recent years. And unfortunately, there was a more kind of positive body movement, somewhat excluding the more kind of, glamorization of obesity. That's not what I'm talking about, because that is just as damaging. When you are underweight, being severely overweight will still kill you. And cause horrendous side effects. But more and more women, especially I'd say around 2016, 2015 to 2018, were in the gym, lifting weights, getting strong. So I'm not talking about the kind of, again, emphasis on getting plastic surgery, getting BBLs and that type of shit. I'm talking about women who are actually getting strong in the fucking gym. So because when women embody that energy, it massively heightens your frequency, your mental health and your physical health and your spiritual health. And trust me, as someone who has gone to the gym for over a decade now, who came from a background, like I said, of undereating, starvation, severe bulimia, who massively damaged her body for fucking years, it has been the greatest gift, the only thing that got me out of that dark hole. And it massively transformed my body for the best. So when I say that it is not worth it, starving yourself, I truly fucking mean it. Because long term, you will cause severe damage to your body. You will damage your metabolism. You will damage your guts. There's only two things that an eating disorder will lead you to. And that is either to recovery, which is luckily what happens with myself, or to your fucking grave. It will end in death. Because people don't understand, like I was saying before, when you're losing massive amounts of muscle, your heart is also a muscle. So your heart gets more and more fragile the skinnier you become. And this is why the most number one cause of death for anorexics and bulimics and anyone with eating disorders is cardiac arrest. Because your heart literally doesn't have the energy to function anymore. And as someone who did for years feel like I was going to die from a heart attack, who felt my heart struggling, nothing will put fear into you more when you actually get to that point. Starving yourself is not some glamorous, fashionable thing to do. It is literally a slow death. It is a slow death of your soul, of your mind, and of course of your fucking body. And the sad thing is if the longer you're in it, the harder it is to recover from it. Another extremely damaging thing that it does is it massively weakens your bones. So there is nothing fucking fashionable, beautiful, or glamorous about osteoporosis, because especially as you age, your bones become more and more and more brittle if you are not doing resistant training. This is why weight training is not masculine. It's actually one of the most best forms of exercise women and men can do. It actually helps you heal trauma. It helps you regulate your hormones. It keeps your bones fucking strong, and it keeps your muscles active and strong and built. Because that is the number one thing that will cause you to live a long-term happy lifestyle, not starving yourself. The most psychotic and depressed that I've ever been in my life, that caused me to become extremely out of character and do things that I was never have done when I was fed, was when I was not eating. So for me, I had bulimia for around 6 years, where that basically means that I would binge on food. So eat hordes of food and then purge it all out again. So basically force myself to throw up. But it didn't start that way. And this is what most people don't realize, especially if you're not taking Ozempic and drugs to suppress your appetite. When you're doing it from true willpower, you will turn feral. There is no type of hunger you will feel when you are truly starving your body to death. And that causes immense stress and cortisol to surge through your body as well. So I didn't start as a bulimic, and this is why many anorexics later do turn bulimic, because they cannot handle no longer starving their body, because the longer you starve your body, the more your body will go into survival mode. So eventually, after I'd say a few years of starving myself and becoming underweight, I then started to binge and purge. And then this got so severe, I then started to abuse laxatives, which of course your body does get used to. It adapts to it. So this is why there's no shortcuts. Even when you're on Ozempic and all these things, or bulimic, or abusing laxatives, whatever thing that you're doing or abusing or exploiting, there's never fucking shortcuts. Your body will always retaliate later down the line. There'll always be some sort of side effect or thing that will manifest from that, because your body is simply not designed to function that way. So in my case, the more I abused my body, the more it started to basically need a harder hit, more throwing up, more laxatives, to the point where I was literally taking 30 different types of laxatives a night, literally just to have a bowel movement. And on top of that, throwing up every last bit of foods that I was eating. So I was literally running on empty. I was also drinking. I was also smoking to further try to suppress my appetite. So eventually this led me to just have a complete mental collapse. And thank God I actually was able to get some help. So if you are going through this type of thing, the thing that I always recommend is actually hypnotherapy, because that was one of the best things that actually did help me heal. And the first stepping stone to fully getting out of that addictive purge and binge, energy. Because what people don't really talk about much is how addictive eating disorders actually are as well, especially if you become bulimic, because it kind of mimics a toxic relationship in the form that you will get a trauma bond to it, because whenever you're binging on foods, that will release insane amounts of dopamine, euphoria in your body, because you've been restricting from it for so long. And then as soon as you're done and you start to feel full, then the extreme stress and panic and cortisol will surge in the body. And on top of that, if you are bulimic, when you're then throwing up, that will then be a very horrible, experience, because it is not fucking comfortable. It is a horrible thing to endure. So obviously that causes a hell of a lot of stress, more trauma on the mind, on the body. And then afterwards, you feel euphoric again when your stomach feels empty. So this is why bulimia and even anorexia, because the same thing can be done with exercise, of like when anorexics will exercise for like hours and hours and hours, putting themselves through that pain and that stress and that punishment. But then afterwards, they'll feel that high. It basically mimics a drug. But the more you do this, the more kind of numb you'll become overall. So you will literally become a complete shell of yourself. And this is why when I say it is never fucking worth it, because you will go through so much pain, stress, misery, and self-harm, self-punishment, just to feel like shit, just to feel like you want to end your life anyway, eventually. Because it's only in the beginning you will start to feel, dopamine and euphoria when you start to lose more and more weight. But it will get to a point where you're so broken, so malnourished, because you have no minerals, no vitamins, no fucking fuel from foods. You won't care anymore. Your mental health will completely collapse, because it will be the only thing you think about day in and day out. As soon as you wake up, as soon as you go to bed, every fucking second of your day will be focused on restricting from food, exercising, doing this. It's just constant hell. So never believe these women who try to make out like they're happy, they're great, they're, healthy, because I used to do that. So this is why it's very frustrating, especially for people like myself who've fucking played those games. When you see people like Ariana and all these other celebrities who try to gaslight the public of like, don't body shame, don't comment on my body, I'm healthy, I'm fit, I'm athletic, when they're clearly severely anorexic. It's so dangerous and reckless and irresponsible, because now that's going to influence millions of young girls, especially teenage girls, who are extremely impressionable to basically kill themselves slowly. Because you should never, ever glamorize an eating disorder, ever. Especially when you do have a platform of millions of young, impressionable girls who watch you. But on a deeper note, you know, women's bodies have always been trends. This is why you should never follow trends and have some authenticity and integrity and some self-respect to actually strive to be healthy and never fall for trends. Don't give a shit what is trending. Do you know how many times throughout history women's bodies have changed shape to fit a certain trend of that time? It's absolutely insane. Women have been influenced to be all types of shapes and sizes. Because, you know, depending on the century that it was, glamorous and trendy. So, because again, these corporations and these companies make billions off women's insecurities. So don't fall for these tricks, but especially don't fall for this one, because this one will fucking kill you. And there's literally no like soft way to say that. It will destroy your life. If you go down that road, you will literally regret it, you know, years down the line if you get out of it alive. And as someone who is, you know, a millennial myself, I'm 36 years old. I lived through the 2000s. I lived through the early 2000s and the 90s where it was hell because we were so negatively influenced to be size 0, to be stick thin, to be shamed if you were, you know, bigger than a size 8, you know, a UK size 8. I'm not sure what that is in the US. It's like, no, you have to be skeletal. If your bones weren't showing, you were fat. Pretty much. So it's like, it's insanity. But now, me seeing what's going on nowadays is actually worse. Like, it was bad enough in the early 2000s, but the way that celebrities are looking now, they look like fucking corpses. It's actually worse. And that is saying something, because the 90s was no fucking joke when it came to eating disorders. Most women my age, especially when we were teens, had eating disorders. But it is also very good to see a lot of women fighting against it and not falling for these tricks. Because the divine feminine does not fall for this bullshit. As a divine feminine woman, you do not fall for whatever patriarchal bullshit gets brainwashed and indoctrinated into your mind to be viewed as beautiful or whatever the case. There is nothing more empowering than a woman who literally feels good in her fucking skin. There is nothing more beautiful and powerful than a woman who embraces her body, no matter what fucking shape she is in. Because again, this is no shame onto like people who are naturally thin. I'm not talking to you guys. It's like, you know, I know there's women who want to gain weight, who struggle, you know, obviously who are just naturally skinny. It's like, if you're eating enough calories, I'm not talking to you. It's like, you know, just keep at it, eat enough, do some weight training, you'll be fine. But I'm talking about the types of people who abuse this type of thing and try to glamorize it and influence it. So trigger warning, this is a dark story of mine. So this was kind of like the breaking point that broke me out of the kind of spell, the haze that I was in when I was in the thick of my eating disorder. So years in, when I was like throwing up multiple times a day, abusing laxatives, all that type of thing, very underweight. I remember one time when I basically had a binge and then I went to purge it all out. I literally felt my heart was going to stop. So it caused me such excruciating pain. And bearing in mind, this was years in. So it can take time for the body to like literally deteriorate and break down. So, but at this point, when I was having a purge, it literally felt like something had ripped in my chest, like the muscles, because obviously when you're throwing up, so much force and toll takes, you know, obviously on the chest area. And when you're doing that for years and years and years, it literally felt like, it's a fun example, but, you know, the thing that popped in my head was an alien like ripping out of my chest. So if you've ever seen, obviously, Alien, that horror film, when the little baby aliens like rip through your chest, it literally reminds me of that. Like the pain was so excruciating. I remember collapsing on my bathroom floor, clutching at my heart, and it was fucking rapidly beating, like so hard. I still get emotional thinking about it, because at that point I literally was convinced I was going to die. I literally thought, this is it. I'm going to die now, because the pain was insanely excruciating, and I never felt my heart do that before. My heart was like pounding so hard against my chest. And it took me ages to get out of that. Eventually, I was able to pick myself up, and, you know, I was forced to contain a lot of the food. So then I was extremely uncomfortable afterwards. I felt so nauseous. And after that, I then went on to do some research. And then I remember coming across this extremely disturbing picture of a girl who was, again, a teenage girl, very young. And this was when it was like, you know, the Wild West, you know, of the internet, when you could find all types of horrendous imagery of, like, you know, corpses and this type of thing. It wasn't very censored. So it was a real picture of a girl who was basically, you know, hanging over a toilet, completely naked, and she had died mid-purge. And what has happened is her stomach literally split open. So because she had eaten so much food beyond what it could hold, so her stomach literally ripped open, and she had a heart attack and she died. So again, it's like, people have no idea how fucking dark and evil this energy actually is. You know, and it really breaks my heart to see, you know, young women looking at videos of Ariana Grande, or, you know, whatever new skinny skeletal, you know, corpse looking celebrities popped out, and saying, oh, I want to look like that. Oh, she looks so pretty. I want to be like that. Why can't my body look like that? It's like, no. Because it's like, you know what's going to happen to them. You know that they're probably going to spend the rest of their life sometimes, if they get to live that long, completely abusing their bodies to try and fit a false idea of what beauty looks like. Because in my opinion, when I see people like Ariana Grande and all these other celebrities that look insanely emaciated, that is not beauty to me. I literally, in my eyes, they look like cancer patients. They look like they are dying from fucking cancer. They look like they are dying because they are dying. I literally came across an image of Ariana posing with a fan, and I didn't even recognize it was her. I literally thought it was one of those GoFundMe charities for cancer patients, and she was a cancer patient, but it wasn't. So people speaking out is fucking needed, because when you have people like her making, you know, music videos, which obviously she did recently, you know, showing her body looking insanely thin, skeletal, it is so bad. I can't even believe, like, quite honestly, they shouldn't have even allowed to have that video, you know, released to the public. But trust me, your body is not stupid. So your body will aggressively fight against you to survive. And the more you abuse it, the more problems you're going to cause, and then the longer it's going to take for you to heal. You know, with my recovery was brutal. It took me years just to have a normal bowel movement again. I had to take this disgusting fiber powder for like 2 years straight. And it took me a year to actually be able to wean off laxatives, because I had to slowly wean off them whilst taking all these supplements and pills and this disgusting powder. It was torture, along with obviously getting hypnotherapy and all these types of things. I tried obviously conventional therapy back then, and it was awful. It did not work. And the only thing that truly then helped my mind after all the therapy and obviously, you know, recovering physically, was when I started to see food as fuel, but in a healthy way. When I started to truly recognize how powerful and beautiful food is. So when you see food as medicine, when you see food as energy to make you more strong, more smart, more beautiful, to glow from the inside out, seeing it as pure source and fuel, and also to treat yourself with beautiful types of food, so counting chemicals instead of calories, that's when your relationship will start to shift. So for me, it was turning vegan, more plant-based. That massively helped me because I started to eat in a more compassionate way. And I wasn't doing it from a point of like, oh, an excuse to eat less. Because this was years after, obviously already having hypnotherapy and that type of thing. So, but it made me actually cook more. So it made me discover way more plants and seasoning and all this type of thing. Cacao, superfoods, like it literally made me eat more, but like variety and fiber and fruits, and all these types of things, as well as, you know, protein, tofu, tempeh, you know, to adapt to obviously my gym lifestyle as well. So, and trust me, you can be strong as fuck as a vegan, as someone who's done it for 12 fucking years. You know, you can get very, very good muscle on a vegan diet. It made me see food in a beautiful way. It made me eat more colorful. It made me really heal that relationship that I had with food. It made me want to learn more. I even became a nutritionist. So I done the, you know, vegan nutritionist course. And then eventually that led me into like herbology, and then learning even like herbal magic, and, you know, all of it became like spiritual as well. So it went massively hand in hand with my spiritual awakening, was healing this relationship that I had with food, no longer seeing it as some demonic, horrible thing that I need to like push away and restrict myself with. It made me see it as like, actually, no, this is a beautiful gift that the earth grows to gift you with energy, with fuel, with medicine that your body actually fucking needs to grow, to thrive, to flourish. So on that note, I do have a quick shout out as well to Otter Spirit. So they did send me more beautiful bracelets, as you can see. So this is actually malachite, which ironically is good for the heart chakra. This is a golden tiger's eye, which again is very, very good for confidence. And then hematite as the grey one, which is very grounding, very good for spiritual protection as well. And a reminder, they do donate to a Sea Otter charity with every purchase that you make. But I generally do absolutely love their company. Their crystals are also very good quality, AAA graded, most of them. So, because be careful, fake ones. So they are like really, really genuinely beautiful. So I'm never disappointed with the ones that they send me. As always, I do have a code, so click the link down below in the description box. I'll also pin it in the comments, where you can get 20% and also 30% off any purchase. If you're also wanting to tap into your dark feminine energy so you don't fall for any propaganda, such as this, to starve and kill yourself, so you can tap into your confidence from the inside out, then I do have my dark feminine guides, where I will also link down below, so you can tap into that energy to truly awaken your confidence energy, so you don't feel like you have to become small. If you want to join my Goddess Coven Patreon, where you can get access to my more deeper videos that I don't post on YouTube, also spell tutorials, new moon and full moon rituals and guidance as well, then click the link down below and you can get access to a lot more content over there. Until next time, my loves, stay strong and stay sovereign.